Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, Arsenal correspondent at Goal. Just joining you soon after the full-time whistle has blown at the Etihad. Just to give my thoughts on the game, really, I'm sure you've watched it, give some player ratings and just go over the key moments. Really, I mean, look, we know the score. Arsenal lost 3-0. They've got back to come back to action in the worst possible way, getting hammered at the Etihad. It's been a disaster, really, from start to finish. Manchester City totally outclassed them. Arsenal, yeah, it's like they've never been away, really. From the moment that Mesut Ozil was announced not in the starting lineup, it just felt like one of those dark days under Unai Emery, where everything was going to go wrong. It was drama from the start, from the moment team news came out, and then I thought Arsenal started. Or I mean, the team news was actually surprising. Not just forget Ozil, but Arteta went for some young players. Nicolas Pepe on the bench, Alexander Lacazette on the bench, Dani Ceballos on the bench, David Luiz on the bench. Nketiah started up front. Saka played on the right of the front three with Aubameyang on the left. Joe Willock was playing in the holding role. The advanced midfield role. You had Xhaka and Guendouzi as a midfield two, and then Pablo Mari came into the centre backs alongside Mustafi, and then Tierney and Bellerin as well. So it's a very surprising starting 11, and it just didn't really click for us. I thought they started all right, and Nketiah was fairly lively, but then Granit Xhaka got injured after 5 minutes. Pablo Mari got injured after 24 minutes. Two changes inside midway through the first half. Just disastrous start for Arsenal. And David Luiz came on for Pablo Mari and had an absolute nightmare, giving away a horrendous goal for Raheem Sterling just before half time. If Arsenal got into half time at 0-0, it might have been different. But Luiz's error gave Sterling a goal, and then early in the second half, Luiz brings down Mahrez, gives away a penalty. Luiz gets sent off. De Bruyne scores, and it's game set match. Man City, and Phil Foden got the third goal deep into stoppage time. But you look at the stats. Arsenal 3 shots in the whole 90 minutes, none on target. I mean, they'd had 2 of those shots in the first 20 odd minutes. I think the last one came in injury time, so they went about 70 minutes without a goal, without a shot. Man City, on the other hand, had 20 shots, 12 on target. I mean, it's no exaggeration to say if Leno hadn't had one of his usual games for Arsenal, it would have been a lot worse for Mikel Arteta's side. Really tough evening for Arteta. Not helped by his players, not helped by David Luiz, who just had an absolute shocker. He was only on the pitch for 25 minutes, gave away a goal, gave away a penalty, got sent off. It's 4 penalties he's given away now this season. That's the equal record in a Premier League season that any one player has given away. Just a disaster for Luiz. He's suspended now for the game against Brighton on Saturday, and given he's out of contract in the summer and a short-term deal has to be agreed by June the 23rd, if he's going to extend that deal and play beyond June 30th, he may well have played his last ever game for Arsenal now, David Luiz. And on tonight's showing, that might not be a bad thing, because it was a real horror show from Luiz. I mean, I was surprised he didn't start, and Mikel Arteta before the game said he didn't start him because of a few things that have gone on in recent weeks, and he certainly played like there was a lot on his mind, Luiz, and it's an interesting one. We'll have to see how that develops over the next week or so. But a really difficult night for Arsenal, difficult night for Arteta, really difficult night for Luiz. And Arsenal go to Brighton on Saturday now, and they've got to find a way of bouncing back from this, because it was a tough night. I'll just go through some player ratings. For me, I mean, Leno, I've already said, was the absolute star of the show. I'll give him an 8, really, which is surprising after a goalkeeper conceded 3 goals, but it would have been a hell of a lot worse if it wasn't for Leno. He played really well. I had no chance of any of the goals. Just had a really good game as usual. I thought Kieran Tierney was a bright spot, certainly for the first half, but he struggled a little bit in the second half, not helped by the fact that his centre Luiz had gone off, Mari had gone off, and there was big spaces down the left-hand side of the defence, and Tierney struggled in that regard. But I thought there was some good moments from Tierney, certainly in the first half, so I'll give him a 6. David Luiz gets I'd say I'll give him a 2. No, in fact, actually, I'll get on to Luiz because he didn't start. I'll start with Mari. You can't really give him a rating. I'll just give him a 5 because he only played for 20 minutes. Mustafi, I'll give a 5. Bellerin struggled, I thought, at times, not surprising, against that City attack. I'll give Bellerin a 4. Can't give Xhaka anything, he only played for a few minutes. Dani Ceballos came on for him. I thought Ceballos actually played really well for the first 20-25 minutes, and then he really faded, so I'll give Ceballos a 5. Guendouzi was okay in the first half, but disappeared in the second half. I'll give Guendouzi a 6, just because I thought he put himself about a little bit more in the second half. And then the front 4, really. I mean, Joe Willock was anonymous. I give him a 3. Saka again struggled. 4, Aubameyang I give a 3, barely touched the ball, and when he did, he gave it away. And Nketiah I thought was sharp early on, but then completely faded, not surprisingly, as things went on. So I'll give him a 4. The substitutions, David Luiz, a 2, just, probably a 1. It was so bad. It was a horror show for David Luiz. It really was. So that was a real struggle. I've already talked about Danny Ceballos. Thought Lacazette, Nelson and Maitland-Niles came on at the end. I'll give them all a 4. So, just going through those ratings says how bad it was. It was a really, really tough night for Arsenal. It really was. Leno, the undoubted star, but the rest of them, just not a good night at all. And they're going to have to really pick themselves up now because they've not got much time. They get back early hours and then they've got to go to Brighton Saturday morning. Not going to have much time to get over this. So it's Mikel Arteta's got a big job on his hand, and he's got the injuries to play with, obviously. No, Luiz is suspended, Mary's injured, Xhaka's injured. Can't see either of those two playing. So some big questions already for Mikel Arteta to answer. He would have been hoping just to get through this game. It was always going to be difficult. I mean, Arsenal haven't won away from a team above them in the Premier League for 5 years, so this was always going to be an incredibly difficult match for Arsenal. But I think Arteta would have been hoping to see more from his side. I mean, this was pretty dismal. This was going back to the sort of Unai Emery days. We'd certainly seen signs of progress under Arteta before lockdown, but today was a bit of a throwback. As I said, you had the Ozil mystery early on. Arteta said he's going to expand on that. At the time of recording this video, he hasn't yet expanded on it. Arsenal have been staying very tight-lipped to why Ozil wasn't involved, just saying that he wasn't injured. But Arteta was apparently going to address that after the game, so we'll probably find out more. Probably would have found out more by the time this video has been uploaded, so I'll have to keep a look on social media for that, and I'll react to whatever Mikel Arteta has to say. But yeah, it was just a really tough game for Arsenal. It was just had that familiar feeling about it. Injuries, defensive errors, a mystery over Mesut Ozil. I mean, it was just like I said, a throwback to that time under Unai Emery. So really difficult night for Arsenal. Let's just hope things get better when we get to Brighton on Saturday. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe.